negative emotions that keep coming up in different forms, shapes, and sizes that just wouldn't let you go. I asked, what should we then do to the anger, disappointments, and frustrations that we feel almost every day? Should we keep them away, or should we not even act like they exist in order for us to not feel the consequences of these negative emotions? Better still, are we to make things worse by doing or saying the wrong things? The truth, as we have previously clarified in our past videos, is that denying your emotions is definitely not an healthy choice. The fact still remains that you're not alone with the struggle of negative emotions. In fact, it happens to the best of us. So what are negative emotions? They are those feelings that causes us to be miserable and sad. These emotions often make us dislike ourselves, others, and our lives in general, depending on the degree at which they express themselves in our lives. They take away our confidence and makes our mind unclear. They also can make our bodies sick in a longer period. Emotions that become negative are hate, frustration, anger, guilt, nervousness, jealousy, envy, betrayal, and sadness. Yet, in the right context and a very short period of time, these feelings are completely natural. If not, they can dampen our spirit depending on how long we let them affect us. For instance, anger and betrayal mostly result to revenge, violence, and rage. And then we have frustration and bitterness, which mostly results to mistreatment, both physical and emotional. The fact is that there is a downward spiral when we do not let go of negative emotions in our life happenings. What this does is that it stops us from being rational and seeing the correct pictures of how situations and events have happened in our lives. When this happens, we tend to see only what we want to see and remember only what we choose to remember, which only prolongs the anger and pain that we feel and stops us from enjoying life, which we ought to do. The longer this goes on, the more deep-rooted the problem becomes. Dealing with negative emotions inappropriately affects our past, our present, and our future. Emotions are very complex and hard to understand. This is the brain we're talking about here, guys. The brain, which helps us respond to thoughts by releasing hormones and chemicals, which then sends us into the state of stimulation. All emotions come about in the same way, be it negative or positive. They all come from the brain. It is a complex process, and most often we don't have the ability to deal with negative feelings and emotions, which is why we find it hard to cope when we experience them. Psychologists have known for some time now that some negative emotions are essential in our journey of life. Take for instance fear. It makes us avoid dangerous situations, right? In doing so, we have a sense of safety to some extent. This is why in this part of the world we have burglary-proofing windows on doors and everything for us to have a sense of safety. That is also why when you enter a car and you belt up, the next thing you probably do before you drive off is to lock that thing that drives us into doing that is fear. So the next time you feel overcome by negative emotions like fear, anger, frustration, do not pretend that you feel nothing. Do not dwell on it. Do not reminisce on it and let it linger for too long in your mind. Instead, accept the way you feel. Look for positively constructive strategies for you to apply on overcoming the way you feel. Now let me share with you on how I deal with negative emotions and how I try to overcome it. Firstly, I try not to blow it out of proportion. So whatever situation that it was that I reacted to, I try as much as possible not to blow it out of proportion. Secondly, I try to be reasonable. I accept the fact that the bad feeling that I feel is but for a short period of time. So I find constructive ways to either just stay away from the person that has offended me and that has hurt me for a short period. Thirdly, I try to relax. So one of my relaxation mechanisms is watching movies, watching series, listening to music, take a walk, visit a friend or call a friend, Skype with a friend, WhatsApp a friend, chat up a friend, whatever it is, just choose a positive way to relax. The fourth one is I try to learn from whatever scenario that I'm caught. So learning and reflecting on it actually helps to avoid such situation from repeating itself. With this, you will know what your triggers are, who your triggers are, what situations are your triggers. Number 5 is that I do exercise. I do yoga, I meditate, I skip. Every morning I skip. Exercise helps you distress. It reduces your stress level. The last and final one is I let go. I let go of the past. I let go of the hurt. Constantly reminiscing of the hurt and pain robs you from being able to move on and always makes you feel bad. You have no control over it. It has happened, it has happened. There's not much you can do again. It is for you to learn from it and let it go and move on. With all this being said, remember you're not alone. The way you feel is the way I felt, and I still feel, and I will always feel. So accept the way you feel. Learn from your mistakes. On this note, we have come to the end of today's video. If you have any questions, remarks, observations, comments, do send us an email, or you can just contact us however on our social media platform, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at MySpace. I am Annie Bells. Thank you very much for watching.